Orbiting around the target is a widely used cinematic movement to show the surroundings of a scene. In this video I will show how to make the most of point of interest, one of the three powerful intelligent flight modes grouped under the name of focus track, together with spotlight and active track. To access point of interest or any of the other two modes of focus track, all is needed is to draw a rectangle around the target. A small window in the lower part of the screen will show the three modes of focus track. The one to the right is point of interest. By tapping on it, a big double arrow appears to select the direction of flight and the speed. In the Mini 3 Pro I noticed that the maximum speed was way too slow. But in the Mini 4 it is faster, and this is a welcome improvement. Although it would be preferable to have an even wider speed latitude. It is possible to modify the speed during the shot, which is handy. When using point of interest, most of the video settings are available. Both the exposure and the white balance can be set either to auto or manual. The resolution can be 1080p or 4K, with frame rates up to 60 frames per second. The three video color profiles are available, not only the 8-bit mode normal, but also the 10-bit ones, D-Log and HLG. It is possible to use point of interest in vertical format. And this is good news for users active on social media. This mode also works when using the video mode slow motion, with a frame rate of 100 frames per second for extreme slow-mo. When using point of interest, it is possible to use the two sticks of the remote controller to apply extra moves to the rotation, like getting closer or farther away from the target, ascending or descending. It is also possible to apply some digital zoom during the rotation using the left wheel of the controller. When the aircraft is close to the maximum allowed altitude, point of interest will not work, and an error message appears on the screen. In this case, simply lower the altitude and try again. With the Mini 4 Pro, the obstacle sensor system can be activated while using point of interest. This is not the case with the Mini 3 Pro, as the previous model doesn't have lateral obstacle sensors. This is an excellent safety feature, although is it better to be aware of surrounding obstacles, especially in low light conditions, as the sensing system will not work below a certain level of luminosity. Rotating around a landmark is a very cinematic way to film a scene, especially when there are several elements at various distances in the background, thus creating a very appealing parallax effect. Let's see a few different ways to film the same scene. One of the simplest ways to show this village by the Mediterranean Sea in Sicily is to advance towards it at a constant speed. It can be useful as an establishing shot, but on other occasions we might prefer a more dynamic approach. By modifying the angle of view and advancing toward the same village, we can include two other ones with some nice bays and a couple of small volcanic islands. Now we know more about the surroundings. Then we can introduce point of interest, starting with a view of the same village, with the camera locked on the normal castle. The aircraft will rotate counterclockwise progressively, revealing the other bays and villages, thus adding an element of surprise. By using the two sticks of the remote controller, it is possible to add extra movement for a more dynamic and dramatic effect. In this case, I'm moving quite fast to the right while rotating and then lowering the altitude to better position the other villages on the frame. Notice the interesting parallax effect with the elements on different layers in the background rotating at different speeds. To make the move even more dynamic, is it possible to use the left wheel of the remote controller of the Mini 4 Pro to apply some digital zoom. Let's do the same move as before, but this time starting with a quite deep zoom on the normal castle. During the rotation we apply the same movements with the two sticks of the controller, but at the same time we use the wheel to zoom out back to 100% progressively. The zooming out makes the movement even more dynamic. We can also do the opposite, this time starting without zoom and progressively zooming in to 200%. The parallel effect is increased as the village in different layers look compressed and closer to each other. For more precise results, it is possible to apply the zoom on the computer while editing. In both cases there will be a severe loss of resolution, so the digital zoom is to be applied only when shooting in 4K and decoding in 1080p, in general for social media. In this other example we can use point of interest with the camera pointing down and the aircraft almost on top of the target. By simply lowering the elevation with the left stick of the controller, we can easily and precisely combine two famous cinematic moves difficult to perform manually, the screwdriver and the crane shot. A certain dynamic rotating move can be accomplished with similar result using either point of interest or spotlights. Some users feel more comfortable with point of interest as there is no need to take care of the rotation, while others prefer spotlight for more control of the orbiting speed. Point of interest has some basic tracking capabilities, although nowhere near as powerful as the one of spotlight and active track. It can follow a slowly moving target while rotating around it. This can be occasionally useful for following one or several people walking slowly while revealing the surroundings with a circular movement, although more precise results can now be achieved with a very powerful 360-degree active track of the Mini 4 Pro. Click on this link to watch my video about Spotlight mode with the Mini 4 Pro, and don't forget to hit the like button if you found this video interesting. Thank you.